Well, happy birthday, America. It's Brent Adams with Inside Farm Life. And not only are we celebrating the birth of our great nation, this week we also celebrate the birth of a podcast. The Inside Farm Life podcast launched this week to podcast directories, and you can find it wherever you get your podcasts. We have an expanded version of what you hear on the radio each week on Inside Farm Life, so I hope you go and check that out. And this week we have a patriotic theme, and what's more patriotic than neighbors helping neighbors and farmers helping farmers. And this week we bring in Dan Erdmann, who is the project manager with Farm Rescue. They're doing great things helping farmers and ranchers who need assistance, and so we want you to hear all about that mission. And then this week the USDA released its acreage and grain stocks reports, and Jesse Allen comes in to provide some clarity on this week's Market Talk update. Then our buddy the hot rod farmer Ray Bohacz is here with another installment of Bushels and Cents, and this week he's helping you troubleshoot air conditioning problems. So go and give all that a listen. Then we take things back to the country with our buddy Dustin Collins. He has a new album getting ready to come out. He is in the studio right now with Buddy Cannon, the legendary producer of Willie Nelson and Kenny Chesney, Jamie Johnson, so many others, and also Bill McDermott, also a Grammy-winning producer. Those guys are all teaming up to produce some new music. But right now, this week, we want to stand for the flag. He's got that great song that he put out last fall. You're going to hear it here on Inside Farm Life, and it's the message we all need to hear as we head into this 4th of July weekend. Well, I tell you what, I say this every week, but we have so much going on right now as we ramp up for these farm shows, conferences, conventions. We have got a lot on the schedule, and you're not going to want to miss any of the coverage as things start to return to some semblance of normalcy around the country. We get to the farm shows, we get to go out and see people again, and we can't wait to hit the trail and tell a lot of the stories of agriculture. So I hope you're following Farm Life on Facebook, and you're following us on YouTube, and you're watching the live streams. We've got more of those coming, both on the country music side and the agriculture side in the coming weeks. You're going to be seeing a lot more live stream content. And if you're not listening to the internet radio station, we're on Live 365. You can find it at live365.com. Search Farm Life. We're streaming 24/7. with some great traditional country music, some bluegrass, a little bit of gospel. And we're going to start putting more unique content on there. Also in the coming weeks, we're going to be launching farmlifemedia.com, the website where you can find that internet radio station, podcasts, video content. We've got so much coming up in the next few weeks, and we can't wait for you to be a part of it. So for now, I tell you what, I'm going to get going here, start wrapping things up so we can enjoy this Independence Day weekend. Then we're going to come back on the other side of that with more great content, and we're going to just hit it hard the rest of this 2021 and beyond. I tell you what, again, happy birthday, America. We love you, and thank you so much for following Inside Farm Life. For now, it's Brent Adams. I'm out of here, and I want to present to you this week's episode of Inside Farm Life.
Welcome to Inside Farm Life, your weekly connection to agriculture newsmakers, hot-button industry issues, educational features, and the best in true country music. Now, here's your host, Brent Adams.
Well, welcome to the first episode of the Inside Farm Life podcast. We appreciate you giving us some of your time this week. We celebrate our birth just as our great nation prepares to celebrate its birthday, and this week we celebrate patriotism. And not many things embody the American spirit more than neighbors helping neighbors and farmers helping farmers. That's why we check in with Dan Erdmann with Farm Rescue to get a status report on the noble work that organization is doing. Also this week, the USDA acreage report is out, and Jesse Allen puts it into perspective in this week's Market Talk report. Then summer's heating up, and our buddy the hot rod farmer Ray Bohacz talks AC pressure in this week's installment of Bushels and Cents. Finally, we stand for the flag with Nashville singer-songwriter Dustin Collins, who's in the studio with some legendary producers putting the finishing touches on a brand new album. We can't wait to tell you all about it, but first, some news. Corn and soybean markets are reacting to lower than expected planted acres numbers in USDA's acreage report. USDA Radio's Gary Crawford has more.
Wow, that was USDA Chief Economist Seth Meyer's first word after being briefed on Wednesday's USDA acreage report, and the markets must have been saying the same thing, with corn and soybean prices zooming upward right after the report came out, with planted acreage numbers below trade expectations. The average trade guess for corn plantings was a bit over 93.7 million acres. The report said
92.7 million acres.
So 1 million acres less than expected, but Lance Honig with USDA's Statistics Service says it's 1.5 million more acres than USDA's March planting intentions report showed, 1.9 million more than last year, and also
The largest corn acreage since 2016.
still 1 million acres fewer than many in the trade expected. Soybean planting, similar story.
We're a little bit lower there, too, than folks were expecting.
87.6 million acres planted, up 5% from last year, but slightly less than the March planting intentions, about 1 million less than the average trade expectation. No wonder prices went up.
Also this week, the USDA's report on corn and soybean stocks may not have been responsible for another jump in prices, but that report didn't do anything to cool the markets.
During this past year,
corn and soybeans have been the leaders in moving prices higher.
still going on, too. USDA's chief economist Seth Meyer says this week's USDA report on planted acreage for those crops certainly pushed prices even a little higher with fewer acres than many analysts had expected.
And it doesn't take much, given the tightness we're at in these two markets right now, it doesn't take much to spike a price jump.
As to the tight market, USDA also published stocks numbers for those crops as of June 1st.
I don't think the stock reports were surprises, so I don't think that that's what's moving the market. But it is a confirmation of what has been really robust demand for those two products.
Corn stocks June 1st, 4.1 billion bushels, down 18% from a year ago. Soybeans, 767 million bushels, down almost 45%. Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Jesse Allen will have more on this week's reports in his Market Talk segment coming up later in the show. And finally this week, China's purchases of our nation's ag goods remain strong under the Phase 1 trade agreement. However, what might this mean regarding long-term sales? USDA Radio's Rod Bain has more.
While China's Phase 1 target purchase levels of U.S. ag goods were not quite reached last year,
we're back around 2017 levels, and for some products we got back to pre-trade war levels and better, but we didn't quite hit our target. So that's a question. Well, what do these commitments actually mean?
And USDA Acting Deputy Undersecretary for Trade and Foreign Agricultural Affairs Jason Hafmeister adds that regarding U.S. share of the Chinese ag good marketplace,
we were about 20% plus prior to the tariffs going in place in 2018, 2019. With the trade war, our market share fell. Not surprisingly, last year we started climbing back out. But look, China's buying more.
Notable in recent Chinese purchases of American soybeans, corn, and pork, among other commodities. Hafmeister, however, says China is also purchasing from other countries as well, and more than ever. So,
this is a question for us. How can we make sure that we're getting our fair share of the China market?
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
And now, what is your goat saying? That is a pretty sweet shirt you got on there. Did you get that from goatlifeclothing.com? Very humorous and stylish. No, you cannot eat this shirt. I know it looks tasty. goatlifeclothing.com.
Well, next up on Inside Farm Life, Farm Rescue has helped more than 700 farm families since its inception in 2005, and the mission just seems to intensify with each passing season. Farm Rescue volunteers provide planting, haying, harvesting, and livestock feeding assistance to farm and ranch families that have experienced a major injury, illness, or natural disaster. And even as we speak, Farm Rescue volunteers are hard at work. So today we wanted to bring in Dan Erdmann, the program manager with Farm Rescue, to give us a status report on the nonprofit organization. And Dan, welcome in to Inside Farm Life.
Thanks, Brent. Appreciate you having me.
Well, it's our pleasure. And as we said in the open, nothing is more American than neighbors helping neighbors and farmers helping farmers. And to me, the volunteers of Farm Rescue personify that American spirit with their willingness to roll up their sleeves and devote their time and equipment to helping others. First of all, tell me about the volunteers of Farm Rescue, because they come from all types of backgrounds and all walks of life, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an amazing family of do-gooders that we have serving as our boots on the ground for Farm Rescue. Like you said, they come from all states across the country. I think at last count we were at 49 different states represented as far as folks that are signed up to support our mission. And they come from all walks of life. I mean, these are some of the incredible stories that I get to tell, or just the background of these folks that are out here doing this work in the field for us. I mean, they're pilots, they're pastors. We have retired military, law enforcement. We have a rocket scientist that comes up every spring and helps us out during planting season. And as you might imagine, a lot of retired farmers and even current farmers that have felt the calling to our mission. And again, we're here to provide a hand up not a handout. So it's equipment, it's volunteers to come in and kind of get you over the hump, get you through a short-term crisis, and keep you doing what you love to do.
And, these folks endure all sorts of weather conditions and ask a lot of their equipment to get the job done without expecting anything in return. And that is pretty special.
That's the heartwarming tale of farm rescue is, again, it's an age-old concept of neighbors helping neighbors. It's just that our neighbors come from a little bit further up the road. And again, they have that calling and a giving heart to come help a complete stranger. I mean, they're giving up vacation time of their own, in a lot of instances, or time with their families, to come help someone that they've never met before. They know that they're going through a tough time, so the whole goal is to kind of be that light in one of their darkest days and get them through a planting, haying, or harvest season, and hopefully get them back in the field next time around.
And as far as those in need of assistance, the circumstances farmers find themselves in really runs the gamut. I was looking at the website, from cancer to a couple broken backs to a head injury, gallbladder surgery, knee surgery, shoulder surgery, stroke, drought, and a whole slew of operations that fell victim to wildfires. And that was just in the first half of 2021. And the thing about that is, when you and I talked last December, none of those folks I just mentioned would have ever dreamed of needing the farm rescue assistance. But I bet that they're all glad that your organization exists.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you hear that a lot, that in a lot of instances, at least, we started in North Dakota, and since then we've kind of slowly grown to include other states. Now we're up to, South Dakota, Montana, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, and most recently Kansas. But again, those folks that we're helping have said, I was aware of you. I'd hoped, I never thought in a million years I would need you, but I'm glad you guys are here. And there's so many different instances that bring us to a farm, and you mentioned so many of them. But what's amazing to me is how bad some of these situations can be. And so often we hear a farmer tell us, someone else needs the help more than I do. And you look at some of those just heartbreaking circumstances that they find themselves in. It is, ongoing cancer treatments. A lot of times it's a loss of a limb. You know how dangerous farming and ranching can be. But to hear someone like that say, someone else needs the help more than I do is an incredible statement and a testament to the pride that they have in their work and how hard it is to ask for help sometimes. And so that's some of the biggest obstacles we have to overcome at Farm Rescue is sometimes it's hard to convince a farmer that it's okay to ask for help sometimes. It doesn't degrade anything that you've done or you're doing. We just want to get you back to it. And so that's, again, one of the biggest challenges for us is just having some of those proud farmers and ranchers swallow that pride and admit that it's okay to get a little help sometimes.
As we enter July now, Farm Rescue volunteers are busy pitching in to help with tasks such as wheat harvest in Kansas. Now, last week they were in McPherson County, Kansas, near Galva, to help a farmer who recently injured his back. That's an area that's near and dear to my heart because my in-laws live in Hutchinson, and my father-in-law and I have actually fished at the McPherson County State Lake there and checked out the Buffalo Observation Tower. If you ever get a chance to get out that way, really, really cool. And it's quite a sight to leave that lake this time of year and see all the combines harvesting wheat in the surrounding fields because they're everywhere. And you really feel that sense of urgency to get the crop in, and especially this year with the dry conditions that have accelerated their timeline.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people dealing with drought, and just in the last week here, I know a lot of those areas have thankfully gotten a little bit of rain, but that's also meant some delays for our volunteer crews. So like you said, we started in Galva early last week and helped a farmer that had injured his back. The next case was actually just down the road, so a 20-30 minute drive to Lindsborg was where we went next, and a farmer there dealing with biweekly cancer treatments for endocrine cancer, and his outlook's looking better, but obviously he's very tired from the treatments and unable to carry out his necessary workload. So again, we're honored to be able to come in and help in circumstances like that. And just within that last week, we had some media out there to cover that story, which is great. And the reason that is great for us is because more folks in the state of Kansas and some of those areas that we aren't as well known get to hear about the work that we're doing and the fact that, we have no ulterior motive. It's just, again, we're a group of volunteers coming in to help you through a tough time. So when they wrap up here in Lindsborg, again, there was a couple rain delays here, but hoping to wrap things up today or tomorrow. And then they'll be heading west to Rexford, Kansas to help another younger farmer with a few kids that's dealing with esophageal cancer. So again, just heartbreaking circumstances a lot of times when we're there, but we're just so honored to be there and to help get them through that tough time.
When you talk about all the help they're receiving there in Kansas, you not only note the volunteers, but also the corporate partners. And in the case of Kansas, the big John Deere dealer, Prairie Land Partners, and you guys really couldn't do it without all those sponsors and the support they give, could you?
No, you hit the nail on the head. They're such a big part of what we do. As you might imagine, there's a lot of expense involved in coordinating equipment and volunteers across 7-state territory. John Deere at the corporate level and at the local level too. Prairie Land Partners, Van Wall Equipment, RDO, Gooseneck, Implement up here in North Dakota. We have a lot of great local John Deere sponsors and a lot of just sponsors in general. It doesn't have to be on the John Deere side of things. We have a tremendous family of supporters who see the importance of what we're doing and the fact that we're helping a lot in their areas. There's a lot of companies that see the benefit of supporting farm rescue because they may have locations across an entire state, and they know that by helping farm rescue, they can help all of those communities when a need arises. So we're very blessed to have the support we do, and just very thankful to all those that choose to contribute monetarily to support the mission of farm rescue.
Well, this is also a busy time of year for hay, and Farm Rescue's Operation Haylift is in full effect. But as you've noted on your website, it's been nearly impossible to find any available hay. What's the latest there?
It's still an uphill battle. Again, Operation Haylift is something that we initiate on, I don't want to say rare occasions, but it's something we don't offer every year. It's usually as a result of severe drought or, in the case of Nebraska a couple of years ago, catastrophic flooding. So we have trucks to haul hay to those folks that are, may have lost hay to flooding or just have no hay as a result of drought. And that's what we're going through this year, and the reason Operation Haylift is back in full swing here. Like you said, it's been tough to find any donated hay because so many folks, they see the value of hay this year, and understandably, you're not going to want to part with that for nothing. So, again, we've kind of put the call out to our service territory. Again, those states, North and South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas. If you have a load or two of hay you might be willing to part with to help another rancher going through a tough time in some of these extreme drought areas, we'd love to hear from you. Our field ops manager, Neil Simons, has been kind of coordinating all of that. So feel free to shoot him an email. It's Neil, Neil, @farmrescue.org. If you have some hay you might be willing to part with, we'd sure appreciate the help.
So we're just a little more than 2 months away from combines really starting to roll for soybean and corn harvest in the areas served by Farm Rescue. What goes into planning now to ensure that things run smoothly when your volunteers are pressed into service then?
Well, for us, it's first of all knowing who we have available on the volunteer front. So we have a great volunteer coordinator that is in good communication with all the folks who are signed up to help us. They let us know about their availability, and even at this point, we kind of start to build those volunteer crews. And it's as you might imagine, we got a good mix of new volunteers and existing volunteers. So we try to pair a few of those, seasoned veterans with some of the new guys to get them trained in properly. And then on the equipment side of things, it's been months or even a couple of years in the making, getting things coordinated on that front. So again, it goes back to John Deere for sponsoring a few combines for us. There is some equipment that we've purchased on our own over the years, but combines, we actually just sold the one that we had and hoping to buy a new one. We have a combine fundraiser going on right now that people can contribute to, but we got a couple combines up here in North Dakota coming for the upcoming season. the combine that we picked up at Prairie Land Partners a couple weeks ago. That's been working real hard down in Kansas the last couple weeks here. And then another one we'll be getting from Van Wall to kind of support farmers in that Iowa and Nebraska area when it comes to corn and soybean season. So again, it's a lot of moving parts and a lot of coordination with a lot of different entities to make sure that we're ready when the time comes.
So again, you mentioned earlier, as of now, Farm Rescue operates in 7 states. Do you foresee a day when that coverage area will expand to other states?
That's the goal. That's always the goal. And we like to say that when we do expand to a new state, it's under the right circumstances. We need to kind of have that controlled growth. We don't want to just say, yep, we're supporting this state if we don't have the groundwork laid to be able to support families in that state. So again, it's a slower, controlled growth for us. We're still a very small nonprofit by many standards. There's only 6 full-time employees here at Farm Rescue that kind of coordinate all these moving parts, and obviously we have a lot of help from our volunteers, but it takes a lot to expand into a new state, and that's the goal. Again, years down the road, I can't give you exact names of the states that we'll be adding in years to come at this point, but again, that's always been our mission, is to help more and more families as we move forward in our history. So yep, hopefully keep an eye out, and maybe we'll be coming to your state soon.
So if our listeners are interested, how can they become volunteers or supporters of Farm Rescue?
You know, our website is kind of a catch-all for anything you'd want to know, or any way that you want to get involved with Farm Rescue. If you're a farm family yourself in need of assistance, you can apply right there on our website. It's a pretty painless process. Again, you just need to qualify under that injury, illness, or natural disaster qualifiers, and be within those 7 service states that we talked about. We also, as you might imagine, we talked about the pride of farmers and the difficulty in asking for help sometimes. So a lot of what we do is based heavily on referrals. It's friends, it's family, it's spouses that reach out to us and let us know of a situation going on with a farmer or a family, and we can reach out to them and kind of give them our spiel and hope that they're open to that assistance. So again, you can refer a family on our website. If you're interested in volunteering with Farm Rescue, becoming an angel in blue, that's what we refer to our farm rescuers as, our angels in blue. You can sign up on the website as well. And finally, if you're just looking to support our mission monetarily, it's obviously a huge part of any nonprofit, but especially in what we're doing. We sure appreciate any and every dollar that's donated to our cause. And you can, again, donate right there at farmrescue.org.
Again, just a tremendous organization with a tremendous mission, with selfless volunteers and a dedicated staff. And Dan, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on Inside Farm Life. And we hope you come back again and again to share the mission of Farm Rescue. You always have a home here to share your story and to get the word out about ways people can become involved in your important endeavor.
Oh, we sure appreciate it, Brent. Love talking to you and love farm life. So happy to be back anytime you'll have us.
Again, make sure you go check out farmrescue.org. And we've been talking with Dan Erdmann, who is the operations manager with Farm Rescue.
Like a championship caliber baseball team, your fungicide has to be tough, and Concept Agritech has the solution many of America's top growers trust. BioAid is an EPA-registered fungicide that delivers an initial contact kill of a wide range of fungal pests and is safe to the user and the environment. To find out more about how BioAid can help you increase your yields and deliver a higher return on investment, visit conceptagritech.com. Concept Agritech, technology where you need it most.
Well, as we said earlier in the show, it was a big week this week for USDA reports, and Jesse Allen is here to break it all down for us in this week's Market Talk Report. Jesse.
Well, we wrapped up the month of June with a huge USDA report day last Wednesday. It's a report, or a set of reports, I should say, that we have been keying in on for months that many folks say is going to shape our market trade for the foreseeable future, along with the weather situation. After the dust settled on Wednesday's wild, volatile market trade, I talked to Mike Zuzolo of Global Commodity Analytics about the report. We saw bullish momentum in the grain trade with stocks coming in lower than pre-report estimates for corn, soybeans, and wheat. Also seeing acreage come in below pre-report estimates for corn, beans, slightly higher for the wheat market. I first asked Mike his general thoughts about the report and the numbers and how they came in close to his pre-report estimates. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, and the corn they did, Jesse, and I think this is where one of the biggest surprises, even for me, was that the USDA did not rob Peter to pay Paul in the form of taking corn acres away from beans or vice versa. They took corn acres away and bean acres away from trade expectations. And so that was one of the outliers in this report that fortunately my data and some of the analysis, and my analysis is really rooted in what the clients tell me and the subscribers tell me when I speak with them. And it's all anecdotal as far as the acreage base goes. Other than that, there's not a lot to go on. It's not like you can build a true model like I do with the national yield, but with the acreage base, it really goes back to producers. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I saw, was that we've had this situation where the funds have been able to play corn against beans or beans against corn. I don't think they're going to be able to do this, because you could argue pretty easily the soybean acreage number was even more bullish than the corn, even though the biggest surprise initially for the trade was the corn acres being well below 93 million acres. I just couldn't see it getting above 92.5, let alone 93 million, because of what I was being told, and also because of the economics of planting. And it showed up in some of the acreage maps that USDA showed us.
One note that I saw that we brought up in the report as well, talking about that very dry northern plains and Canadian prairies, the spring wheat crop only listed at 3.5% abandonment in the report, when many folks think that could be upwards of 10 to 15%. Here's what Mike had to say about that.
Yeah, that's exact. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I didn't want to get too deep in the weeds unless you wanted to. But that's exactly, if you look at my orange number for other spring wheat of 10.7 and my Durham number of 1.34, I think that's exactly where these soybean numbers are going to come into a greater size. And you'll probably see milo and canola and those types of more drought tolerant crops, maybe less costly crops come into play as well. But that, you hit it on the nose. That spring wheat market still has a lot of information to be brought forward, I think.
I also asked Mike what his thoughts were as they took a look at the trade here this week after the reports and get into the month of July, if he had any advice for them as they're taking a look at everything in front of them right now.
Well, I've conditioned the clients and subscribers to really be on point for hedging soybeans this past 6 or 8 months in preference to hedging corn. So a lot of calls have come in today and they said, okay, we're up 90. Should I start hedging some beans now? If you haven't, I think, yeah, you start, but you don't do it too aggressively until maybe the end of the week. Well, let's see what the drought monitor shows. Let's see what the agriculture and drought report shows on Thursday. The big thing right now, Jesse, that I think the market caught up with, if you were an analyst like me, the first thing you did was drill down these acreage numbers and then toggle around with the yield. If you take USDA's 50.8 bushel yield nationally for soybeans and just knock a half a bushel off that, you're sub 100 million bushel carryover for this coming year using their 4.42 total demand number and using their same 135 carry-in number. Grain stocks report would suggest that maybe we could trim that beginning stocks number a little bit, that carry-in number a little bit. But this trade has got to realize we're going into the July 4th holiday with potentially sub 100 million bushel carryover. And then you start talking about South America and that issue down there where they had some pretty terrific freezes in some key areas that the trade thinks it's mainly corn. But my colleague and my source down there got back to me this morning and talked about how China is looking to revamp their quality standards at the WTO, at the World Trade Organization. They're in the process of doing that. And some people he's talking to down in Brazil right now are very nervous about this freeze impacting the quality or the ability of the Chinese to take a lot of beans from Brazil without maybe having to blend them with United States beans. That's still a big question mark, but it's still something very, very crucial to talk about and to think and keep in mind when you're talking about hedging beans.
Mike and I also wrapped with talking about how we're going to be watching the weather as well, the continued dryness in the northwestern half of the Corn Belt, the wet conditions in the eastern Corn Belt, Iowa right as the pivot point. And of course, then we have the July WASDE report coming up on the 12th, and USDA is going to have to factor in all these numbers into that WASDE report for July. And here's what Mike had to say, some good final thoughts for us.
Supply's falling faster than demand. We cannot get a yield number yet. I am going to stay, if these weather models hold correct for what I call the golden triangle of Iowa, South Dakota, Minnesota border, if that area continues to miss rains and get as hot as these forecasts are calling for, I'm not going to be able to go above 175 on corn yield, and I'm not going to be able to go above 50.2, 50.3 on bean yields. And so you're talking about 100 million carryover on soybeans, and you're talking about a 1.2 billion carryover on the corn. And yeah, USDA can start trimming demand, but that's what the function of the price. Keep in mind, we lost a lot of price this last 2 weeks, and that's part of the reason why the market jolted higher after these numbers came out, because they realized we've got to ration that demand. Here's the key to me, Jesse, that if you don't take anything else away from our interview today, the July-September spread between the corn is still $1.20 premium to the July futures. Big ethanol producers on both sides of the Mississippi River jumped their basis levels to $1.05, $1.10, even $1.20 over the September contract when they rolled their cash spot basis from July to September, because we're now in delivery in July. So it is suggesting, and today's report, both the acreage and stocks report, all of them are suggesting the July price in futures is closer to being correct, because that's the cash price out there in the countryside, than the September futures price. So this next 10 days could be unbelievably volatile, and especially if the July corn really wants to stick it and go north quick to ration demand more quickly. And it should carry the September with it. So if you don't take anything else away from this conversation, do not do anything but puts right now. Get your floors locked in at the appropriate time, scale up, sell. Don't wait for a high and then try and catch that falling knife like you did back in May or early June. Get your puts in place, roll them up, and don't sell any cash until we get maybe 15, 20 days down the line.
And again, that's Mike Zuzolo of Global Commodity Analytics joining us on last Wednesday's episode of Market Talk after the release of the USDA quarterly grain stocks and acreage reports. You can find more online, on demand, markettalkag.com. Find us on all your favorite streaming sources. This has been the Market Talk update for Inside Farm Life in Nashville. I'm Jesse Allen reporting.
And you can find Jesse's daily market updates at markettalkag.com. Again, that's markettalkag.com. And you can find him by searching Market Talk on Facebook. He also appears on the American Ag Network, and you can hear him host Your Ag Today, weekday mornings about 6:50 a.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Satellite Radio, Rural Radio Channel 147. Gateway Seed Company was founded in 1997 on a simple principle. It doesn't start with the seed, it starts with the farmer. We pride ourselves in doing all we can to understand our customers' farming operations. We take the time to listen to their concerns, then focus on providing a solution to address their specific needs. Gateway Seed offers seed corn with trait packages from Bayer and soybeans with trait packages from Bayer, Corteva, and BASF. To learn more about how Gateway Seed can boost your yields and increase your return on investment, visit gatewayseed.com. Well, has the air conditioner in your vehicle or equipment been giving you troubles? If so, the hot rod farmer Ray Bohacz might have one possible answer in this week's installment of Bushels and Cents.
Welcome to Bushels and Cents from Farm Machinery Digest Radio, heard exclusively on Sirius XM Channel 147 Rural Radio. I am your host, Ray Bohacz, the hot rod farmer. And never forget, it is not what you make, but what you keep that counts. An air conditioning system varies in operating pressure based on the ambient air temperature, humidity, engine speed, and the airflow across the condenser. If the condenser, which is closest to the grill, has the airflow across it challenged due to debris, bugs, or the fins being closed over, it is possible for the high side pressure to reach a level that allows the relief valve to discharge some refrigerant. Low refrigerant level and warm duct temperature does not always mean there is a leak. Agriculture runs on machinery, profits on reliability. Visit farmmachinerydigest.com, where steel and soil meet.
Well, don't forget, you can check out all of Ray Bohacz's great multimedia content at farmmachinerydigest.com. And if you like what you hear there, you can catch him on Farm Machinery Digest Radio on SiriusXM Satellite Radio, Rural Radio Channel 147. It airs each Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern and again on Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern, so I hope you go and give him a listen.
Many companies promise increased yields and a higher return on investment, but again and again, results show that one company stands apart from the rest. Concept Agritech delivers innovative concepts utilizing the latest technologies in agronomy, biology, and chemistry to enhance soil and plant health with seed treatment, planter-applied fertilizers, foliar fertilizers, and full-season soil treatment solutions. To find out how to put Concept Agritech to work for you, visit conceptagritech.com. Concept Agritech. Technology where you need it most.
Well, with the business out of the way, now it's time to take things back to the country, where each week we shine the spotlight on a different true country music artist. This week it's Dustin Collins, who's currently in the studio in Nashville working with a couple legendary producers to create a new album, and we're excited to hear all about it. Dustin, welcome into Inside Farm Life.
What's going on, Brent?
Man, just excited to be back here, and let it be noted that you are the first musical guest on the Inside Farm Life podcast, and I couldn't be any more thrilled about that because you've supported me from day one in everything I've done. So it's great to have you back here.
Man, it's always great to talk to you, man, and likewise with the support. Appreciate all the things we've done together so far.
Man, this is an exciting time for you because just this week you shared that you're in the studio in Nashville working on a new album, not only with your longtime producer Bill McDermott, but also with the legendary Buddy Cannon, who's worked with so many of the greats from Willie Nelson and George Jones to Kenny Chesney and Jamie Johnson, and is credited with helping launch the careers of Shania Twain and Billy Ray Cyrus. And it can pretty much be said that he doesn't work with anyone that you've never heard of. So what has that experience been like? It's got to be pretty remarkable.
Man, but Buddy's great, man. He's one of the most genuine people in Nashville that you can meet, and he's got a set of ears that are just incredible on, just to change the dynamic of a song that it was truly an honor and pleasure to even get to, sit and talk to the guy, let alone have him, produce on some tracks.
When you've been putting things together for this album for a while now, what can we expect out of it?
Man, it's 3 chords and the truth, my man. We kind of got away from, some of the pop rock riffs and stuff from the last record, and just, dove headfirst right back into my roots in country music, and really digging in and getting the stories out, actual story songs, and really try to write about me and my life on this record, and a more literal sense of some of the things I've gone through in my life, and really tried to convey, try to connect more with the folks that listen to my music, and just let them have a little piece of me in each song we've put on this album.
I love it, man. That's what this should be all about. And I know this has to be a great feeling for you being back in the studio after your world, like so many others, was rocked by the COVID shutdown. What was that whole time period like for you?
Man, at first it was like, we lost 80% of our schedule in a week. And, I still on March 15th, but Black Wednesday. It was just, that was our last show at the SEC tournament. We played an event for the SEC tournament down in Nashville, and none of us knew it was the last time we were going to step on a stage for 12 months, and it just kind of blew my mind and put a lot of things in perspective to me about music and life, and how quickly, no matter how good things are going or what you think is going to happen, that they could all be upended at any moment. And it just made me very grateful for all the people that allow me to, all the fans that buy my music and come to my shows. It made me very thankful for all those people to, basically give me a job.
And now you're able to get back out on the road a bit and get back in front of those people and start making some new fans. What's it like being back up there on stage in front of those fans again?
It's awesome, man. It's the best feeling in the world. I thought I was going to be nervous and have kind of a period of adjusting back to doing it, but we did the first couple shows, and I mean, we jumped right back into it. Me and the band did a little half rehearsal day, and it was like riding a bicycle. We just, of course, all of us woodshedded through the pandemic, and really got into the songs a little bit better because, we didn't have nothing. All we had to do was play guitar, write music, and go fishing.
Right.
And, so we really dug into it and got after it. And I was just really happily surprised at how easy it was to jump back out on there. And also very happy that folks are, I think, from all that time that they were locked up and kept up in their houses and stuff, now that we are having shows, our attendance is actually better than it was before COVID. So, we've got a lot of folks coming out and just being very grateful to be able to come out to an event and hear live music. And I think we're in an awesome, incredible time in music, and looking forward to what this next year brings.
Well, you did a really good job during COVID keeping that audience connected by making use of social media to play some acoustic shows and just get on there every now and again and share music, share covers, share some original stuff. How important was that just to keep at least some semblance of a connection there with your fan base?
I mean, I know how important it was for me to, going from playing as many shows as we were playing to none. I had to figure out how to get the music out and not just play it around family and stuff, and because they get tired of hearing the same song over and over again. And social media was definitely an outlet that allowed me to get out and get my new tunes out, and also pick some new songs for the record. I got a chance to, not all the time do you get to sit on social media and actually talk to people and get their feedback one-on-one with your fans. And it was cool to post a new song, and as we were writing the songs for the new album, get real-time one-on-one feedback from people that actually listen and buy your records and say, hey, that's a good song, or hey, I don't like that so much. And I think it's been very unique process in the way we put this body of work together for this new album.
So an interesting connection you've had in your career is a tie to the country of Belize. You played down there a few times in your career. Just a couple of weeks ago, you were able to be back down there again playing shows. How did all that begin?
My best friend and a guy that I do some business with, and he's very involved in my music career and just been a mentor and good friend of mine, David. He owns businesses in Belize, and he lives down there. So it all started, he had a company party that started a few years ago. And he's like, man, you got to come down here. You got to, check this place out and all this stuff. And I was like, well, what are we going to do? He said, oh, we're going to play some music. I was like, Dave, do they even like country music in Belize? Because, it's Caribbean country. Right. And a lot of times, the more traditional Caribbean music is what they listen to. And he goes, oh, yeah. He said, every Sunday they have this country music show that comes on the radio. And I was like, okay, cool. So I ended up going down there the first time and played my specific brand of country music. And to my surprise, I get the Belizean folks, Belizeans, as they're referred to, they're asking me straight up for Waylon Jennings and Merle Haggard and Conway Twitty. And apparently this radio show that plays on Sunday basically plays classic country music.
Love it.
And after the first time I went down there, I was like, oh, this is so awesome. I know all these songs. So I kind of adjusted my playlist to kind of their style of what they like to hear. And then, over the last 2 years, we've gone down there, and I must have played at least 20 shows in Belize by now. And this last time we had a lot of folks show up and had a great time. And now you got folks down there singing the barn and sharing I like to drink and stuff. It's really neat.
That's awesome. And I can't think of too many better settings to play that music in.
I mean, there is no better setting to play any music than beachside in Teacocker or Ambergris Key, Belize. You really can't beat it.
So what's the rest of 2021 and beyond looking like for Dustin Collins?
Shows, and album release year. Getting ready to. We finished tracking. So the album's tracked. We have some vocal things to go over and get back in maybe 2 or 3 more days in the studio, and we're gonna wrap up this album and this is my fourth recording project, and we're really excited about getting it out because of like Buddy Cannon and getting to work with Ilya Tashinsky. We were joking the other day, about the amount of awards in the room while we were recording this, and it was just kind of takes you back a little bit to actually be in that moment and realize all these people are there to help you. And it kind of freaked me out. I was like, man, I'm just this country kid from, central Kentucky, and what universe am I living in right now? Man. But the music was there, and just to watch these guys help me take, some notes I jotted down in a notebook, 6 months to a year ago, and turn these things into just stuff. The best music I've ever recorded was an honor and a privilege to get to do that. Excited about getting this thing out.
And we talked about Buddy Cannon, but you bring up Ilya Tashinsky here. He is one of the most in-demand session players on a number of instruments that's ever stepped foot in Nashville. And to have him on there, multiple time ACM and CMA Musician of the Year for different instruments, and also pulls together a number of artists that are just top notch.
Oh, absolutely, man. If you're ever in Nashville and some producer says, "Hey, we're going to bring this Russian banjo player in," hire that guy.
Yes, sir.
Hire that guy. He's an amazing person and just a incredible musician, and I'm glad to get to work with him.
Well, I tell you what, before we get out of here this week, this being Independence Day weekend, I wanted to go back a few months to your last release, Stand for the Flag, because I believe this is a song that we need to keep front and center no matter what else you put out from now on. What inspired you to write this song, and how has it been received since you dropped it last fall?
Of course, with any kind of social topic issues, the song has had, detractors, but also the people that have loved it. And to me, I wasn't really trying to make a political statement with it. Just, other people have given their reasons, for protesting the flag or whatever you see today with the Olympics and stuff, But to me, I don't think as protesting the flag, I don't think that's a good symbology of America to protest the thing that should bring us all together. There's plenty of ways to protest different things. That flag to me stands for, the people that fought and died to keep this country going. And there's issues that we all need to get better on, and continue to strive for greatness in this country. And that's what the flag should be about, is, looking forward. On the U.S. Army patch, the reason the flag is facing backwards is because the U.S. flag never retreats. It always goes forward. And to me, that's what the flag represents, is going forward and moving forward. And if we can't do that as a country, we're screwed.
Absolutely.
So, to me, that's what the song's about.
And we're going to let you hear it right now. This is Dustin Collins with Stand for the Flag on Inside Farm Life.
Feed and the headlines never seem to change. Day in and day out, they always stay the same. Concrete's growing, the city's moving in, and there's progress for progress' sake. They think they know what's best for us and how to change our backwards ways. We stand for the flag. You can be damn sure that we're thankful for everything we have. We love this land. Every inch paid for by blood and sweat and the strength to take a stand. You might think that it's a really cool ride. Way out here, we still stand for the flag. That died, gave their lives, knew what they were fighting for. Sacrifice and innocence, left on a foreign shore. These colors still fly here high and proud, the red, the white, the blue. If you think they're coming down, I got some news for you. We stand for the flag. You can be damn sure that we're thankful for everything we have. We love this land. Every inch paid for by blood and sweat and the strength to take a stand. You might think that it's a relic or a rag. Way out here, we still stand for the flag. Stand for the flag. You can be damn sure we're thankful for everything we have. Love this land. Every inch paid for by blood and sweat and the strength to take a stand. You might think that it's a relic or a rag. Way out here, we still stand for the flag.
And that was Dustin Collins with Stand for the Flag. And Dustin, if people want to follow everything you have going on over the next few months, what's the best way for them to do that?
Facebook.com/Dustin Collins Music, Instagram, Dustin Collins Official, DustinCollinsMusic.com, at Dustin Collins 88 on Twitter. And recently we have got a TikTok, and I would encourage you to go on there to see some cool little 60-second covers and mostly videos of me pulling in hog crappie.
Oh, yeah. How's the fishing been this year?
It was great this spring, but now that we're back to work, my fishing poles have been
getting a little dusty.
Yeah, they've been sitting in the garage for some time now.
Oh, well, give and take, right?
Yeah, that's you either get to fish or you get to work, and I'm happy to be back working. That's for sure.
Amen. Well, and I hope everybody else can support that work. Go out and download the music. Be on the lookout for the new album coming soon. Go out and catch this guy when you see him on tour. And Dustin, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here as the first musical guest on Inside Farm Life. And I hope you come back and share some of that new music with us when it's done cooking. Keep showing the world how true country music is done.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate it, and we will definitely be back.
And we want to thank you for joining us this week on Inside Farm Life. Happy birthday, America. For now, it's Brent Adams. Come back again next week, won't you? And hey, bring along a friend.
You've been listening to Inside Farm Life, a production of Farm Life Media. If you have topic suggestions for future episodes, drop us a line at brent@farmlifemedia.com. And be sure to check out our website, farmlifemedia.com.